Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about how you can overcome the things that have been holding you back from unlocking your true potential and making a greater impact. You're going to want to stick around because by the end of this video, you're going to walk away with 8 actionable steps that you could do that help you to start small and embrace this idea of a beginner's mindset. Now, the strategies that I like to cover and that I do in these videos, it would be the same as if I were teaching you or mentoring you one-on-one. So it's going to be packed with action steps to help you to implement them and truly move past fear and the obstacles that are holding you back from becoming who it is that you're truly meant to be. Now, in order to really dive into that, let me set the stage for you to make sure this video is right for you by posing a scenario and some questions to you that if they resonate with you, you are in the right place. I want you to imagine that you're standing at the base of a mountain, looking up at the towering peak at the very top. And the goal of doing that, the goal feels overwhelming or almost impossible. You may feel like your dreams are too big even to begin pursuing. But what if I told you that mountain that you're staring at doesn't have to be climbed in one giant leap? But what if instead of just focusing on the peak, you focused on just that first step? The journey to greatness, it begins not with that leap, but with that single intentional step. That's the power of starting small. Starting small isn't settling for less in any way, but actually is the secret to achieving more than you ever thought was possible. Now, my name is Jake Talbert. I am the founder and author of a book called The Giver Method that you can get on Amazon. I'll include a link down in the description. Everything we're going to cover today is grounded in principles from The Giver Method, so I highly recommend you go get yourself a copy, maybe buy a second copy, share it with someone who may need it, because it is a proven plan that helps you to unlock your gifts and superpowers, to create greater impact, have deeper connections, and live a more fulfilled life. Now, today, I'm here so that I can show you how by embracing this idea of a beginner's mindset and starting small can help you to overcome fear. It can really break the inertia and start moving things forward and discover, that power of using your gifts to create value for others. Now, of course, before we dive in, if you are new here, please hit subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. We want to make sure you don't miss out on any of the high value content we have on unleashing your gifts and superpowers or creating meaningful impact. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all those places under The Giver Method, or go to thegivermethod.com. Check out, our Impact Makers community. You can check out, if you want us to come speak on a stage or be a part of your podcast. You can also, get on our newsletter and receive all sorts of updates. Also, once again, just shameless plug, it helps you to get access to the Giver Method book, which I'll have the link to this Amazon bestseller down in the description. Now, once again, I'm going to cover these items, these steps. There's going to be action items. I highly recommend you grab a piece of paper, open up a note, and jot down your thoughts as we go. That way, you can start to implement these steps immediately and begin taking those small steps forward for creating that greater impact, and showing up better and making 2025 the best year possible. So, let's be clear that, I want to be clear why starting small matters and why embracing that beginner mindset can help you to overcome that fear and really start to discover the power of using those gifts and superpowers in that way. What it does is it helps you to reduce the overwhelm. Big goals, they paralyze us. They the sheer magnitude of what they can be, of what we want to achieve is often feels like too much for us to handle. But breaking these into smaller, more manageable steps, it helps us focus on the immediate, things that we could achieve. Every small action builds momentum, making the journey feel less daunting. It builds your confidence. Success breeds confidence. And when you take small steps and see tangible results, your belief in that ability, it's going to grow. It's not about reaching the finish line immediately. It's about proving to yourself that you're capable of moving forward. It's so important because, small steps, let's think about the ideas of the small steps allow us to build those solid foundations rather than rushing towards a goal and risking any sort of a burnout. The small ones help us to develop sustainable habits. They allow us to be adaptive and to have more, learning along the way, so that we can learn and adjust in our approach. Now, it's really important because it helps promote curiosity and creativity. Approaching challenges with this sort of a mindset allows you to stay curious and open to new possibilities. You're not bogged down by the preconceived notion of perfectionism, which I'll talk about in a second. It encourages adaptability and humility. Beginners are flexible. When things don't go as planned, they adapt and learn and adjust, and humility plays such a crucial role in that. The beginner's mindset frees us from that pressure of expertise. When we accept that we're learning, we give ourselves permission to be imperfect and focus on the progress rather than that perfection. Beginners just naturally experiment because they haven't yet learned the right way. And this sort of a freedom, to try these different approaches often leads us to breakthrough discoveries in ourselves. So now that we can see, why it matters to start small and why embracing this beginner mindset is so important, like now let's break down. There are 8 steps that I want to cover with you, how you can help to overcome, the fear or the obstacles in your way, break and start creating more inertia forward. And then of course, discover and develop those gifts and superpowers so that you can create more value and create greater impact in those around you. So the first step is by embracing daily micro actions. Daily micro actions are intentional and manageable steps that align with your goals and enable your progress without overwhelming you. These actions, they can be as simple as spending 5 minutes of practicing a skill, sending an encouraging message, or brainstorming one new idea. Their simplicity allows them to be easily integrated into daily routines, creating momentum over time. The key is focus on consistency more than anything. Micro actions are not meant to produce immediate dramatic results, but instead act as building blocks for that sustainable growth. And they offer tangible proof that progress is made, helping you to stay motivated and engaged while avoiding burnout from attempting to do too much at once. We only have so much time in our day, so much energy we can give. Let's be focused on what we're giving. So what I recommend you do is begin by breaking it down, any large goal into the smallest possible actions that you could do to move forward. What are the things that you could go do that could move forward towards that? Create that, what are the 5-minute wins? Actions so small that if you just took 5 minutes or less, you could get them done. Like if your goal was to write a book, which I've now written a book, your micro action might be writing just a paragraph a day, reading an article and writing out your thoughts based off of it. Develop some sort of a system for tracking and celebrating your small actions and these small wins, and use maybe a simple checklist or a journal to record what your daily wins are, building evidence of your progress over time. And then once again, focus on consistency rather than intensity. Remember, the small actions will compound into significant results. People aren't overnight successes. It's because of a series of things that were done and put in place to make that happen. Now, micro actions, they overcome that paralysis of perfectionism and overwhelm that I talked about earlier by making progress achievable and sustainable. When you focus on small, manageable steps, you build that confidence through consistent steps rather than being discouraged by attempting too much too soon. These daily actions create, compound effects over time. Just as small deposits grow into significant savings, through compound interest, daily micro actions will accumulate into meaningful progress. Now, the second step is to create safe learning spaces. These are going to be environments where you can experiment, you can make mistakes, you can develop your gifts without the fear or of significant consequences. They are physical or virtual or social spaces where you can focus on your growth and learning rather than just the performance. They can be controlled environments where you can stretch your capabilities while maintaining confidence. These sort of spaces act as your lab for development, allowing you to test new approaches and refine your abilities with supportive feedback. Whether it's a practice group or some sort of a mentoring relationship or personal project, creating these environments that prioritize experimentation over perfection. So start by identifying or creating what those spaces where you would feel comfortable taking risks would be. It might be small groups of trusted friends, volunteers, creating a blog where you can just practice sharing gifts. Like, look for the environments where mistakes are viewed as valuable learning opportunities rather than failures, and then develop specific learning objectives in each space. Create, structure in ways that you can gather feedback, and then set boundaries to help you maintain the safety of the environment while gradually increasing your challenge over time. Safe spaces, with learning in safe spaces provides psychological safety necessary to take maybe those risks you haven't been willing to take, to make mistakes, which are essential for growth. When you feel free, from that fear of judgment or failure, you're more likely to push the boundaries and discover those new capabilities that you have. These environments, they create, they accelerate your development by offering opportunities to practice and receive feedback in controlled settings. And that just, once again, it builds both the competence around it as well as confidence in what you're doing, empowering you to apply your skills to more challenging situations. Support systems. Step 3 is all about support systems. Like, you have to build support systems. They're the networks of people, resources, structures that enable you to encourage your growth and journey along the way. Like, these could be mentors who guide you, peers who can relate to your challenges, cheerleaders, people who are encouraging you along the way of what your potential could be. A strong support system provides you both emotional encouragement and practical assistance. Now, beyond just gathering supporters, it involves creating those intentional relationships and processes to actively contribute to your development. So begin by mapping your current support network and identifying where are the gaps that you may have. Look for people who serve in different roles, like mentors for guidance, or peers for collaborators, accountability partners for consistent check-ins. When I wrote my book, I had someone volunteer themselves to be my accountability partner, and she made my life absolutely made it easier for me to, when I was struggling or working on things, like to go to and ask questions or to send things to. So shout out to Sherry, of course. Thank you once again for that. Develop regular practices to maintain these sort of relationships for maximum benefit. It could include scheduled check-ins or structured feedback sessions, or regular celebration of progress with your supporters. Because a strong support system provides encouragement and accountability needed to maintain momentum when facing these sort of challenges. Having others believe in you helps you believe in yourself, especially when you're starting something new. And any one of these types of a relationship will provide you valuable perspective and feedback that accelerates your growth. The right support helps you to see those opportunities you might miss and overcome obstacles as efficiently and effectively as possible. Now, step 4 is to develop what are your reflection practices. I believe you should be journaling. You should be having these daily reflections and weekly reflections where you go back to what's happened and set your intentions. Your reflection practices, they're just those structured ways for you to learn from your experiences and adjust your approach. They help you to extract maximum value from every step of the journey, turning both successes and setbacks into valuable insights and growth. Regular reflection keeps you aligned with your goals while keeping you, helping you to realize and recognize and celebrate your progress. This sort of an idea goes beyond just the simple review to include, active analysis and, application lessons learned. It involves creating that systematic way that you capture insights, identify the patterns that were there, and then make those strategic adjustments in your approach based off what you're learning. So start by just establishing regular reflection rituals, daily and weekly and monthly practices that help you progress your experiences and extract lessons. You can go to thegivermethod.com/journals. I've got a daily journal process and a weekly reflection. You can go download those worksheets and utilize them if you want. You want to set, what I start to set up those ideas of these learning loops where you review actions taken, you assess your outcomes, identify insights, and plan for your adjustments. Discover and develop specific questions and prompts that guide you through your reflection progress. Focus on both what worked well and what could have been improved on, always with an eye towards practical application of these insights in your next steps. Regular reflection accelerates growth by helping you learn, consistently and consciously from every experience that you have. Instead of repeating mistakes or missed opportunities, you consistently, refine that approach based on the actual results that you've seen. Now, our 5th step is to celebrate the small wins. You have to celebrate every win, no matter how small it is. It means intentionally acknowledging and appreciating every step of the progress, no matter how minor it may seem. This sort of idea transforms a journey from the consistent reach towards a distant goal to a series of meaningful achievements. It's about training yourself to see and celebrate progress at every scale. Beyond just feeling good, celebration of small wins creates positive reinforcement and maintains motivation to build your confidence. It's that sustainable approach for growth. So begin by defining what constitutes a win at different scales and create those, what are your victory markers along the way? What are the indicators to help you to, recognize and celebrate progress daily and weekly and monthly, as you're reviewing things. Make celebration a regular, intentional practice rather than an occasional afterthought, and then develop what's your systematic way for you to acknowledge and celebrate these wins. This could include personal rewards, sharing victories with supporters, creating visual representations of progress, whatever it is. The key is the celebration is consistent and meaningful, because when you celebrate those small wins, you maintain motivation and you're providing that frequent reinforcement of what it is that you're doing. Now, the 6th step is all about maintaining that consistent growth. Maintaining consistent growth involves creating sustainable systems and habits that ensure steady progress over time. Now, it focuses on developing reliable practices that move you forward regardless of motivation or, external circumstances. It's about making progress automatic rather than requiring constant willpower. Beyond just routines, it involves, designing your environments and schedules that support continuous development. And it's about creating those conditions where growth becomes, the path. It becomes the path of least resistance, making it easier to maintain your momentum over a long term. So start by identifying what are those key habits or practices that drive your growth. Create that, what are my growth anchors? Those routines and triggers that ensure consistent action. I have consistent action towards your goals. You focus on making these practices as automatic and friction-free as possible. Develop whatever system that may be, that supports these habits, environmental design or scheduling or accountability measures. Like, the goal is to make the growth practice feel natural and inevitable rather than requiring constant effort to put in towards it. Consistency and consistent habits eliminate the need for constant decision-making, about your growth actions. When progress becomes automatic, you achieve more with less mental effort. Well-designed growth systems also create a compound effect over time. Like, small actions performed consistently lead to those significant results that might seem impossible when they're viewed from your starting point. Now, step 7 is going to be measuring your progress mindfully. Now, this is going to involve tracking your growth in ways that motivate and inform rather than overwhelm or discourage. Like, this sort of idea, what it focuses on is creating meaningful metrics that help you to recognize your progress while maintaining a healthy perspective of your journey. Like, it's about measuring what matters in the ways that supports your development. Now, this sort of idea, it goes beyond simple tracking to include, what's the thoughtful analysis or patterns or trends for your growth. It's involved, developing ways to measure both tangible outcomes as well as the intangible progress you've made, creating a complete picture of your development. So begin by identifying what are those key indicators in different areas of your development, and create those, what are the progress, reports, pixels, things that, the small measurable units of, forward movement in your journey. Focus on metrics that provide meaningful feedback while maintaining motivation. And then what's that systematic way that you can track and review these measurements? That could be regular documentation, looking at the patterns, adjusting approaches based on what you've learned. The goal is to use the measurement as a tool for growth rather than, personal judgment in any way. Because mindful measurements, provide you concrete evidence of the growth that maintains motivation. When you can see progress clearly, you stay encouraged to continue even when facing challenges. This sort of idea helps you to make better decisions about where to focus your efforts. Clear measurement guides, it guides your strategic adjustments to accelerate your development. And of course, step 8 is expanding your impact gradually, thoughtfully increasing the reach and effectiveness of your gifts and superpowers over time. This sort of idea helps you to grow your influence naturally, building on small successes to create larger positive change. It's about scaling your contribution, in ways that maintain quality and authenticity of who you are. It ensures that your impact grows sustainably without overwhelming you or compromising the value that you can create. It's about finding ways you help more people while staying true to your unique gifts and superpowers and maintaining the effectiveness of those contributions. So start by identifying successful small-scale applications of your gifts and how they could then be expanded. Create those, what are the impact ladders, and plan progresses that gradually increase the scope and reach of your contribution. Focus on the quality, while expanding your influence. Develop whatever those systems are for ensuring consistency and effectiveness as you grow. Like, this will include documenting successful approaches, creating scalable processes, and maintaining personal connection even as your reach begins to expand beyond where it is. Thoughtful expansion allows you to help more people while maintaining quality and the authenticity of what you're contributing. When you scale gradually, you create sustainable growth that doesn't compromise effectiveness. It helps you to develop systems and processes that make your contribution more reliable and more repeatable, and creates that foundation for lasting positive change while preserving what makes your contribution unique to others. The journey begins by embracing small steps and a beginner's mindset. These 8 steps, that I provided today, they're the framework for starting your journey and creating meaningful impact with your gifts and superpowers. It starts with just one small step. So choose one step that you could implement this week, and notice how those small actions create that natural momentum towards your greater goals. Now remember, you can go down to the description. You can get access to my book, The Giver Method. I highly recommend you get it, or grab a copy for somebody else as well. It's an Amazon bestseller. It's changing people's lives. It's helping people set up 2025 to be the best year ever. So I highly recommend you go get the book so you can maximize what your impact is. Also, go to thegivermethod.com, check us out, get on our newsletter list, join our Impact Makers community, things along those lines. Find us on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all those places. If you didn't already subscribe, hit subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Go ahead and if this video resonated with you, leave a thumbs up and share it with someone who may benefit from it. Maybe leave a comment on which step you're the most excited to go start trying and start making those small steps forward. And with that, I'll just say, until next time, please keep growing and keep giving. And remember that every journey begins with just a single step. And so start those steps today. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. You can easily move past the fear or the obstacles or whatever it is that's holding you back if you do so, because the world is waiting for you to step into who it is that you're meant to be, for you to make that greater impact, for you to deliver your gifts and superpowers in a way that you create value for those around you without expecting anything in return. When you do so, the universe will always have a way of paying you back. I promise you that. And so until next time, have a great rest of your day. We'll catch you in our next video. Have a good one.